Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late. Took me a second this morning. It happens. Here we go. A toast. Here's the coffee. Happy Friday. So we've been talking about money. Ho! So what do? We decide what it is that we want, how much we want to make, how much we're going to save, what percentage, and then we got to start putting that percentage in our money machine. How do we work that money machine? Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki say, real estate, don't put any money into the stock market because it's all rigged, and don't have any money in cash because it's all fake money. Then there's other people that say everything should go into the stock market. Tony Robbins' crowd says, do buckets. And he got that from Ray Dalio. So figure out what percentage you want in the stock market, what percentage you want in real estate, what percentage you want in debt investing, if you do that at all, and then what percentage in precious metals. Included in precious metals, by the way, could be cryptocurrency. That could also be included in precious metals. If you're going to do cryptocurrency, obviously that's going to be a small percentage of your portfolio. And everybody seems to think Bitcoin is the only one to even bother with, simply because Bitcoin has said that they're only going to have a certain number of Bitcoin that ever exists. They're not going to just keep printing it like our money. They're going to have a limited supply. But, with that, who really knows? I mean, that's really up in the air. So in real estate, if you decide that you want to get into real estate, the good thing about real estate is it creates cash flow. The bad thing about real estate is it can be a little bit more to manage than obviously handing your money over to somebody to manage through a 401k or an IRA. That's a lot easier. You hand somebody else their money, they invest it. But now you can also actively invest your money. That's not the dumbest idea either. If you do that, read the books on how to do that, and you got to spend time. It's something that you got to spend time on. It's something that you got to be careful with. The tough part about doing it on your own is buying individual stocks. The downside to that is, if you buy 7 and 6 of them you're right and one of them you're way wrong, you can end up losing money. So it can be something where you need to figure out how to diversify even more. Tough to do, fun to do, but tough to do. I did it for a long time. I don't really do it anymore. I've come to the conclusion, and I had some success. I had one stock that went up. I bought a stock one year, and the next year it went up 3,600% in 1 year. That happened to me. So a small investment turned into several $100,000. That was very exciting. But after doing that for many years, I've come to the conclusion that handing the money over to the money managers that really can diversify it with lots of other money actually makes sense to me anyway. And then the best way to do that is you just really got to try to make sure on the fees. And, they're all going to hide stuff on you on the fees and say that they're only doing this. And just do your best to knock it down as best as possible and make sure that they're associated with a bank. But what I have gotten back into is real estate. I got into real estate initially in 2007, 8, and 9. Now, that was a good time to get into real estate. And I got into low-end real estate. I didn't get into high-end real estate. I bought foreclosures. And I did that in Northwest Illinois. 3 strikes and I was out. I actually still have some of that real estate, but I basically did everything that you could possibly do wrong. Worst time to invest in real estate in the history of the country. I did it in the exact wrong place, and I did it in the exact wrong way. So I had to, work my way out of those properties over time, and I learned that lesson. But then I started studying more about how to do real estate. And Grant Cardone is the guy that got me back into it. And so when you first start out, if you're going to look at real estate, like I said, the great thing is cash flow. I mean, think about this. Let's say that you decided you wanted to do single-family homes, and you bought 2 houses a year for the next 10 years, which is actually very easy to do once you get started. So at the end of those 10 years, you'd own 20 houses. So, if you're 40, by the time you're 50, you'd have 20 houses. Well, it wouldn't take long, and those things are pretty much self-liquidated. So you would not have a lot of leverage left in them. Let's say that they average $1,000 a month in rent. Well, that's $20,000. Now you could, at that point when you're that big, you could hire a management company, or you could hire a manager. You could hire somebody to take care of everything so that you don't have the headaches with the homes. What are you? You're the bank, right? You're the one that owns them, and somebody else has to take care of them. So let's say you did 40% to management fees, real estate taxes, upkeep, all of that, which is a pretty good percentage for all of those things. Well, that's a positive cash flow of $12,000 a month. That's $144,000 a year in positive cash flow forever. That's not bad. And you can get there in 10 years. And quite frankly, you don't need a ton to get started doing that. And that's an easy way to start to create cash flow if you want to be a homeowner. When you start in real estate, you've got to decide you're going to be one of three people. You're either going to be a flipper, or you're going to be a builder, or you're going to be an owner. Now, and really, once you decide you're one of those, typically you don't do the others. You can, but you don't like to. So builders tend to be people that they love that process, and they end up having their own company or their own set of people that they work with. A lot of times they build multi-unit structures. They don't build single family, but they can do single family. They build them and then they sell them, and they build them and then they sell them, and that's what they do. The thing about builders is they tend to try to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they start to do subdivisions, or they start to do large multifamily properties, and they tend to go broke. Builders tend to go broke in the end. I mean, the way that you operate that business is you siphon as much money off of it as you can, that you invest in other ways, and then when that business is done, usually in a big downturn in the market, then it goes away, and then you can start another one again. Flippers, my brother-in-law and sister are flippers, and flippers operate in two ways. You can either be the person that does all the work, which is what my brother-in-law does. So he buys the diamond in the rough. He buys the bad house in the good neighborhood. And that's another thing you got to think about when you start investing is do you want to do nice neighborhoods, or do you want blighted neighborhoods? And I'll talk about the difference between those two in just a second. He does the house in the nice neighborhood that has the person that's let it go for whatever reason. They had personal problems. Maybe it's somebody who was elderly and wasn't able to keep the house up, whatever. But the nice neighborhood with the one house where everything's overgrown and the house looks like it's falling apart a little bit, that's what he buys. He buys the diamond in the rough. Then he does all the work himself. He's capable of doing that. And anything that he needs done that he doesn't do, he's got a buddy that can do it. He's been in construction a long time. He's built things too, but he really likes to flip. When he's done some projects and he can do that, but you can tell that once you kind of pick one area that you like, that's kind of where you stay. So he'll buy these houses. He's usually working on one at a time. He can do maximum 2 a year, but he'll make really nice money off of a house. I mean, it's if you can do all the work yourself, you can buy something for 70, 80, 90,000 that you can put another, 30, 40, 50 into, and it's going to sell for about 100,000 above that, 50 to 100,000 above that. That's not, that hard to do if you know how to do all the work. The other way that you can be a flipper is you don't know how to do all the work, but you find 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are reliable and can do the work. And then there's always a set of flippers that go to areas. So they'll find an area that's now gotten hot. And you don't have to be way ahead of the curve. You can wait until it's obvious that the area is hot. So, 8 years ago, you might have gone to Nashville or Austin, places like that. Places that you can tell are up and coming. Raleigh, where lots of people are moving. There's lots of jobs. Industry is moving there. Technology is moving there, whatever. People are moving there and they need houses. So then what they do is they pick an area that they're going to go after. And usually it's a neighborhood that's, 30, 40, 50 years old, 60 years old, and there's going to be a lot of houses for sale. And it's on the edge of the nice area where a lot of people are living. It's close. They then put together, they kind of treat it like when Wendy's builds, or any of those fast food companies build a new store. When they come in and build a store, it's 45 days from groundbreaking until that store's done. 45 days. They know exactly how many bricks. They know exactly how many tiles. It's the same crew. They come in and they build the same store everywhere they go. They just do it a little bit differently so it looks a little different. That's how they do that. Okay, well, this is what these guys do. So they'll come into an area and they'll decide, all right, we're going to do these 3 kitchens. They'll have a picture and it'll be kitchen number 1, kitchen number 2, kitchen number 3. And we'll do these 3 bathrooms. Bathroom number 1, bathroom number 2, bathroom number 3. Then they'll rent a warehouse and they'll buy all of the material to do those things in bulk. So they won't buy it individually, and they don't spend time picking things out. They pick out their 1, 2, 3 kitchen, 1, 2, 3 bathroom, because those are the main things that you redo. And the carpet that they want, the tile that they want, and they buy it all in bulk and stick it in a warehouse. Then they go around and start buying these houses. Then they'll get them under contract, get an agreement that they can start working on the house, and then they'll come in with their crew and they'll say, okay, this house I want kitchen number 2, and in the bathroom I want bathroom number 1, and in the other bathroom I want bathroom number 3, and then I want this carpet in the house and I want it this color. Go. And their guys can get that done in 4, 5, 6 days. They'll completely disassemble the kitchen, put in kitchen number 1, do the same with the bathroom, bring in the new flooring, paint it, redo the outside quick, and you don't have to do much there. Tear everything out, put in new mulch, put in some new landscaping, and boom, many times these guys will turn around and have the property sold under contract before they've closed on the contract that they have it. And they will figure that they're going to do 20, 30, 40, 50 houses in like a year in this given area. And they'll come in, buy them, get them redone, and then sell them. And they go and they go and they go. And they do that in that area, and then they find another area. So they're in an area for about a year. They buy these properties for, they sell them easily for double what they paid for them. Kind of the same percentages as what I was saying with what you can do if you're doing the work on your own. But now they're doing them in bulk. And the great thing that they do is they've cut their costs because they don't, they buy in bulk and they don't waste time picking things out more than once. And they've cut their time because they've got a crew of 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. They can be working on the kitchen and the bathrooms at the same time, and they can get it done. Very effective, makes a lot of money. That's really not a hobby. That's really become your business. When you're doing something at that level, when you're doing that many properties at that time. Now, what I'm neither of those. I'm an owner, and I've done commercial and residential. Now, with residential, Grant Cardone will tell you never buy one door. They don't like the single door because if you have a problem with that property, you're not collecting any money. They like multi-unit properties because they want you to be at like 32 doors, because even then, if you're having a problem with 3 or 4 tenants, you're still positively cash flowing, okay? Now that makes a lot of sense when you can get to that multi-unit level. And it really, again, you'd be surprised how quickly you can do that. When you go to the multi-unit level, obviously you want managers and you want that type of stuff. It's a matter of psychologically where are you at. But just understand that a lot of these people that have been in real estate, they're in 2 camps. One camp likes single family because of the opportunity for appreciation. Dean Karnassus says you should go single family. Grant Cardone, I got a buddy of mine, real good friend of mine who's invested in tons of real estate in this area. I won't say his name because he likes to say private. I've asked him, he's owned everything. And everything. And I asked him, what was your best investment? What would you do before I got started? And he said single family because of the opportunity for appreciation. There's always that opportunity for appreciation when you first purchase the property if you fix it up a little bit. So again, it's just where are you comfortable? What is it that you like? Because if you like it and you pay attention to it, it can work. It's a matter of where you want to go. Now, if you do single family, if you do multifamily, you want nice stuff, right? You want to be on the nicer end stuff. You want to be in an area where jobs are coming in, not leaving. You want to be in an area that's growing, not dying. Don't rely on colleges. We said that before everything collapsed. When I say we, I mean these real estate guys said, you don't want colleges, you want businesses. And if you do colleges, you want to rent to the professors. You don't want to rent to the kids because the kids are a pain in the butt. Now, if you do single family, I'm doing a lot in one day. If you do single family, you can do either Blighted or you can do the higher end. So what's the trade-off? Blighted is higher percentage. So, I mean, you can buy a house for $20,000. You can buy foreclosures and you can buy things like that. You can buy a house for $20,000 that you can rent for $650, $700 a month. That's a very nice percentage. Of course, what's the challenge? Well, it's a tougher business because it's not always a steady rental business. You might have to be more in the business of evicting people. You got to stay on stuff. There's more opportunity to have damage, things like that. So it's a higher percentage, but it's more work and can be more hassle. A lot of times younger people just getting into this business, they go into the Blighted stuff because it's easier, it's cheaper. So you can get into it and you can make higher percentages of money. You can do 25, 30% pretty easily in Blighted stuff. That is where I started. I don't do that anymore. I do now more I like the idea that you want your people that are renting from you to drive Tahoes. You want them to drive a vehicle at that level. And a good way to decide who to rent to is look at their vehicle. How they take care of their car is how they're going to take care of your house. So that's another thing that I take a look at. But I buy nicer areas and nicer homes and then fix them up a little bit if they need it, paint, landscaping, things like that. And then you have a much different renter. You have a renter that tends to want to be there for an extended period of time. You can have people that are there for 10 or 15 years and they're happy and they stay in that same house. Your percentages are lower when you do the high-end stuff. You can get to 25% over time with possible appreciation, but you're more in like the 6 to 15%. Okay, so I told you I'd tell you this isn't really a secret, but what I think is a great way to do all of this. If you want to get into real estate, here's an idea. Buy the real estate, pick a percentage that you don't want to be leveraged over. I never go above 60%. Some people say you can go up to 75. I worry about, last time real estate dropped, it dropped 50%. So I don't want to get caught in that. I don't ever get leveraged over 60%. And I never have more than half of my properties have any leverage on them at all. So half of my properties are paid for, and the leverage on the other half never gets above 60% of the entire value of all the properties. That's where I stay, okay? Now, let's say you buy a property, you fix it up a little bit, and you do some painting, you do some landscaping, you appraise it, and the appraisal comes back that it's $10,000 more than what you paid for it, or $20,000 more than what you paid for it. Or you go to redo your lines of credit, and you reevaluate your properties and you see that now you're only at 40% leverage, okay? So you borrow the difference, that additional 20%, and then take that money and invest it into the stock market. Now, it's not your money that you're investing into the stock market. It's the money that the equity has been created by the people that rent from you. So you still get cash flow. You're still getting your cash flow the whole time. But as the debt gets paid down over time, or your properties go up in value, you re-leverage, take the difference, and use that money to go into the stock market. So other people have created, basically you're taking other people's money and using that to invest in the stock market over time. And then when you invest in the stock market, you always do it in a consistent way so that you dollar cost average and you diversify. If you're going to invest in the stock market, the number one thing to do is dollar cost average. Buy every quarter, buy every year, because then that forces you to buy high and buy low and not just buy and hold. Buy every quarter or buy every year does a lot more than just buying at one time. Maybe I'll explain that one tomorrow. So did you follow that? That's a great idea. It's not mine. I didn't get it. I got it from somebody else. But that is a brilliant idea. When the equity gets up, borrow more, then use that money. You can use other people to pay for your stock market investment and other people's money to pay for your debts. That's another thing that we can do. All right, I'll talk about all of those tomorrow. All right, I told you a lot. So it's Friday. Have a great day. It's going to be super hot here in Northern Illinois over the next week, which I'm very excited. I love it when it gets this warm. I hope you all got something out of us. We're all in this together, everybody. Let's take care of each other. Have an awesome day.